I'm a former deep web hacker, just to get that off my chest. I now occasionally hack video games to piss off little kids, but this is a story that still shakes me to this day. It was a pretty normal Tuesday in March when I heard this kid talking about the dark web outside of his dorm. Yeah, dude, I went on the website and got some pot. Yeah, Silk Road. I knew about the deep web and had touched the surface of it a little bit, but after really getting into it, I started getting into the marinas web. I almost always hacked video games such as Call of Duty 4, and modding and coding was nothing new to me. I knew many different coding languages as well, but here's the full story. After hearing this guy talking about this, I thought about getting in touch with my friend that checked out many deep websites. So the next day I called him up. He told me the hacker way of getting on, aka the illegal way. I was given a small bit of Bitcoin, and I started looking at the normal stuff: drugs, porn, more porn. After a while I met a guy, we'll call him Sean. Sean was a guy I met through the deep web. I asked him for drugs. He said we could meet in a public hotel in a state. I am from the states that I shouldn't name, and from that we became online friends. Though we were only 20 to 35 minutes from each other, we usually talked through Skype. He told me how to DDoS people, and the fun giving their address to someone and turning on their webcam. But one time this all changed. I was bored and did this to some random IP of a guy looking for a contract killer. I got his address and everything. I did everything, but on his webcam all I saw was my dorm number. I immediately turned off pretty much anything that was enabled and shut off my equipment. Then I Skyped Sean and told him what had happened. He told me that I was in a public college, and it couldn't be hard for someone to hear someone coming to your dorm if it did happen. But I was determined to go to this guy's address and fuck him up. Stupid me. I drove to his house with two friends, one being Sean, and one of us brought a knife. I don't know why, and I didn't ask. We got there and opened the mailbox and found one envelope. Within the envelope said, "You missed us, go away." Sean said maybe we should just back the fuck up before we get shot. I was about to agree when I heard a deafening bang. We all fucking booked it when we saw the giant crack in the window above us. We all made a mad dash to our car and jumped in and slammed the gas. We heard our one back tire scraping. Our tires got slashed. We drove as far as we could while my friend called the police. We made it out okay. But guys, don't be retarded like us. And Mr. Deep Web guy who tried to shoot me, let's never meet. Noob here, first post, long story. I love this subreddit. It was a few years back. I'm 27 at the time, petite female in a small town with my hubby and two large dogs. It's summer and we have no AC. We live near the police station in a group home down the street. We kind of live on a main drag with a lot of foot traffic, but it's nice. My dogs bark at strangers until pet and acknowledged, and won't bark at you again if they catch your scent in the future. So, our cable was getting a lot of interference. My 32-year-old husband ends up contacting the local radio club, a group of old-timers who got together with ham radios and the like. A few average old white guys come by. One introduced himself as a retired police officer. They pet my dogs and I bail out because this shit is totally boring. The next morning, hubby is out running errands. I'm half asleep and half naked when I hear the back door sliding open gently. I sit up, start pulling on my shirt, and grab my phone. I hear the dog's tail thumping, which is a dead giveaway someone's greeting her, and it's someone she knows. I was thinking most likely my brother. As I turned the corner, my heart sank. It was the radio guy, the retired police officer standing in the back room of the house. I asked what he was doing and if he could please go outside and wait for my husband, who I was already dialing. He apologized for walking in. Hubby arrived shortly and I thought it would be the end of the seeing him, but it wasn't. I've had several weird encounters with various men and women over the years. My brother tells me I am a magnet for weirdos. A week or so went by. I shook off the ordeal and hubby had no complaints with the TV. I had decided this year I would plant flowers along the house. I had the dogs put up in the house and I was enjoying a spritzer working on my garden alone, in broad daylight. I was approached by a middle-aged, large African-American man. I nodded politely. He walks up to me and starts to talk about the weather and just a real casual conversation. No biggie. But things got really weird, really fast. I love women. I love blonde women. I love your blonde hair." He gestured this hand toward me. I gulped. It was this moment I realized he was probably from the group home down the street. He inched closer. I feigned a smile and agreed that blonde hair is pretty. He goes on, "I like brown hair too. Brown hair is pretty, but redheads? Those fucking whores." I took a big step back, my mind racing. Did he just say that? What the fuck, am I hearing this right? My body screamed at me to run, but I stood frozen like a deer in headlights. I see a car drive past. It's doing a U-turn. I do not recognize the vehicle. An old white guy steps out, none other than the weirdo retired police officer. What the fuck? I felt like I was suffocating. The strange man screaming about whores, and the creeper radio guy standing within 5 feet of me. I could hear the blood flowing through my body. Creeper radio guy is asking what this guy is doing. My body felt like lead as the initial burst of adrenaline was running through me. Do I run? Do I scream? My mind raced. I inched further back, clutching my garden rake. In an instant, to my greatest relief, I see my husband's car flying down the street. He could see the exchange as he turned down the road and rushed up to the house. The group home guy continued on his way, and I never saw the creeper radio guy again. So weird guy who doesn't like redheads, and to the creeper radio guy, let's never meet again. I was walking with my mom down our usual little nature path back home. It has a really serene river with little baby ducks and trees, and it's just really amazing to be there when you're feeling down or just need some peace. Anyways, we both noticed a guy in a white shirt and black scrub pants, and he was walking slowly, monotonously towards our direction. Just staring straight ahead, no emotion, no soul. Just very strange and a little off-putting. As he walked past us, we both felt what can only be described as fear and a bolt of energy. It was painful and terrifying. Like he could whisk us away and nobody would ever find us. My mother and I are very intuitive and can feel others' energy, which everyone can do, we're just more aware to it. It's a natural gift on my mother's side. Her and I both just stared at each other in shock. She asked me if I felt it too, and I nodded. Her and I both turned around to look at him once more, and he was down the block, by an accident that had just happened, and he was walking around and inspecting, acting all creepy and smiling. There was an injured person in the car, and he just stared straight ahead at us with that creepy smile, right by the scene of an accident. Dear Demon Man, let's please never meet again. When my wife and I got married, we bought a house in St. Louis. We moved to St. Louis from Milwaukee because our jobs took us there. I had an aunt that lived near St. Louis, but other than her, we didn't have any other family in the area since we were both from Wisconsin. For our honeymoon, we were sent on a 10-day cruise to the Caribbean. Our parents lined it all up for us as a present. While we were gone, we had some weird shit happen in our house. When we got back from our honeymoon, we picked up our dog Pawpaw, which was a bulldog mix, at my aunt's house. We had just moved into our neighborhood, and we really didn't know anyone well enough that we could ask them to watch our dog. Therefore, my aunt was our go-to sitter. I unlocked our side door, and my wife and I started hauling in our luggage. We noticed Pawpaw was acting a bit weird, but we thought it was because we recently moved into the house, and we were gone so long. He was going around sniffing everything, and when he rounded the corner to the hallway that leads to our bedroom, he started barking and going crazy. All dogs get excited at times, so we thought we left a pile of laundry on the floor, and that's what Pawpaw saw. I rounded the corner and I just about jumped out of my skin. A mannequin, like the kind you would see in a clothing store, was standing in the middle of the hallway with a knife sticking out of its head. My wife and I scooped up the dog and we ran outside to get in the car. I called the cops, and when they got to the house, they did a full search. We found out the knife was taken from the knife block on our kitchen counter. While we were standing in the kitchen talking to the cops, we noticed that something was dripping from our freezer onto the floor. My wife opened the freezer. We were hit with a pungent smell. All of our food was rotten. Someone had cut the power cord to our fridge, actually cut it with a wire cutter, which also caused a circuit breaker to trip in the basement. No one was inside our house, and we didn't see any other damage or stolen property. No windows or doors were broken into, and the doors were all locked. We kept a spare key on our back patio in a gardening box in case we got locked out of our house and my aunt needed to get in. But I called my aunt and she said she never went in our house while we were gone. Needless to say, we changed all our locks, and we don't keep a key outside anymore. No one was ever caught. Thanks for listening, guys. This is the Sinful Savant. Thanks, guys, for your patience. My wife and I have just recently moved into a new house, so I've been kind of moving back and forth between houses for the last 2 weeks. That's why my videos have kind of been non-existent. So I apologize for that. And I should be back on a more regular schedule this week with at least 3 to 4 videos this week and kind of consistently through the next following weeks. So email me any stories you guys have. My email is in the info box below. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to join the Sinful Nation. And until next time, guys, stay sinful.